I really love DIY. Right, today is all about heavy lifting. We've got the skip here. All this has got to be cleared because we're getting ready for the concrete pour on Friday. Chris, the Groundworks guy, said he's actually got a conveyor belt which you can rig up to the skip, which we're definitely going to use when we start digging the foundations over there. But for now, I'm just going to have to go primitive and lug it around. Well, one thing's for certain, I am out of shape. It's killing me. Right, we're getting somewhere. I've cleared this section down here. I've left the concrete slab in up there. That will be the bit that we chip out, but it's much easier for the wheelbarrow up there. For now, we'll make sure that's the last thing to go in. So all of this is where concrete was. So it's pretty stable ground, but it's not a properly compacted sub base. That said, I think all I'm going to do is grade it off, and then I'll get in a couple of tons of sub base on there to level it, compact it, and then hopefully we won't have to go too deep on the concrete. This is all last minute planning as usual, and nothing's on paper, it's all up here. But for now, I'll give you a bit of an update on how I'm seeing things going over the next few months. So the rear extension is going to be built off the back of the house, and believe it or not, I'm going to take up my path here. I'm going to come out to the grass just about there. Then I'm going to move the path from where it is that way, so just the width of the path will move across, and I'm hoping that to mirror that this side. So again, I need to take a strip out here. Whilst I've got the skip and the energy, I'll take that out. All of this area I'll pour with concrete. May end up putting patio slabs down, so I've got some left, but it's basically to use up so I can get a full load. This is where the downpipe used to come, well, it was coming off the roof down into this clay pipe, and that's all I could see. And then when I broke out the concrete path a few years ago, I uncovered that much, and now I can see that it goes off somewhere that way. When we moved here, there was about a foot deep of vegetation over the whole roof, like a creeper, and over the years that had shed its leaves, composted, and it was basically like a compost layer on top of the roof. Now that's washed down into here, and I'm up to my elbow, and I'm still pulling it all out, and it's just like a soily compost. But of course it's clogging this. I've tried Grandad's old drainage rods, but they're just not flexible enough to get around here. So my last effort, and I've tried flooding it and doing what I can with a bit of wire. I've got my set of chimney sweep rods. They're much more flexible. I'm thinking maybe if I bang one of those on a drill, I might get something moving. That's promising. Although my water level in there is not going down yet. I really love DIY. Right, saved by the swimming lesson bell. Average to pour progress today. It's only an hour and a half, but I was hoping to get a bit more done. Right, kids are in bed, but I couldn't leave it, even though I'd had a shower and had my dinner. I thought, I reckon I can get another 2 hours in out here and hopefully break a bit more ground. I've also had a little bit of thinking time that I can cut in, make the most of the skip, because that'll take soil and rubble. Cut in the strips ready for the path, even though we're not going to pour the concrete there. Last night I managed to get the path cleared out, ready down there. That's not going to be poured with concrete, but it will be done with the Type 1 sub-base compacted, and then I'll put some shuttering this side of it. I also did my best to have a look around this drain. I'm not really quite sure what happens here, whether it branches off that way or whether it continues down somewhere. With all that said, it's just more digging. Quite often I bang on about all the different preparations you should go for laying a patio or a path, and you don't really get to see why you should do that, i.e. where you can go wrong. And this is a good example. It's, you know, probably how it used to be done. This has been down 70 years or so. It's just been laid on a load of rubble, concrete, stone, brick, and because of that, and it wasn't a proper compacted sub-base, there's loads of air gaps here, and this was all cracked all the way along here. It also meant that the concrete was only probably 50mm, 2 inches thick in places, but 3 times that in others. You can see the amount of space in here where there's been gaps. It's all literally loose fill, and that's why a lot of it are given way. Also, if you just use pieces like this for your sub-base pushed, you know, on the soil, these can actually over time get pushed into the soil and the whole thing can drop. Whereas if you put down a membrane first and then layers of Type 1, you know, a crushed sub-base, then that's less likely to happen. Yeah. So that is the 2 bags of Type 1 for our sub-base. Really a lot of this strip down here is pretty undisturbed now. I've taken off all the large chunks, and we know it's been sat there for 60 odd years, and any settling would have done. So I'm just going to put about 50mm on top of there and whack it all down. But really most of this is for the other side, for the path and that sort of stuff. It was a little bit early, so hopefully I can get round the side there, because I still need to keep loading that skip. Didn't really know what happened under here. I feared it might be a soak away, but actually it does carry on. I had a little pick around down here, but unfortunately I don't know if I've just moved some clay out the way or maybe I clipped it, but it looks like the whole of this joint here is broken, and the clog that we were trying to clear yesterday must be further down, because the water I've put down with the hose pipe is now trickling out here. I'm hoping I can cut through it and put an adapter of sorts on there, switch to plastic, and then relay all this. That one's moving as well, which is not good. That's why it wasn't draining very well. Look at that.
Yeah, you got it, Daddy. Daddy, do you think you'll do it in time?
Well, not only did we have a crack here, I just went to clear out this bit because it was so full of soil, and as I was rodding it, this section just pulled out. It turns out that this is some sort of primitive soak away, and actually it was going nowhere, and all of the gravel or rubble or whatever is down there is just clogged full of soil and rubbish that has been flushed down the pipe. So I'm just going to do away with all of this, fill the hole. When we do the guttering, we'll run it to the other end and we'll drop down, because I've got some management of drainage there which is going to go down into the hedgerow, and it'll be fine. So for now, we've got to fill this hole back in. Now the kiddos are in bed, so I've got a couple of hours of daylight left. It has been raining, but we'll brave it. What I don't want to do is rush ahead and start putting sub base everywhere, because I want to hold off until I've got the whacker plate here first thing in the morning, and what I'll do is compact everything that's already here before I lay it. So instead, I'm going to take out a hedge. Now I can't clear too much of the slab until I've done a few runs to the tip, but what I have decided, rather stupidly, is at the same time as pouring that slab, and because I've probably got a bit too much of this type 1, I'm going to take out this hedge tonight. Well, I say hedge, it's just brambles and overgrown stuff, but take this out because I had started putting the sub base down here as well to have a lower level little pad where I could put a small shed or timber store. So that's what I'm going to do, but it's too late for the petrol trimmer, strimmer, chainsaw, anything like that, so it's just back to basics. I'll take all the greenery off and then I'll come along with some bigger choppers for the bottom. We'll have to dig out the roots. So I was hoping to finish the video with all the shuttering finished, all the sub base done, but whilst I was stood at the hire counter the next day, Chris, the Groundworks guy, called to say that he'd slipped a disc in his back and we were going to have to postpone, which, to be quite honest, I was happy about. It was going to be a bit full on to get things finished. So the next video we'll be finishing off all of the preparations, sorting out shutterings, levels, and hopefully Chris will come around and double check those. Then we'll be booking in the concrete lorry and pouring the whole lot in one go. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.